What's up, everybody? We'll give it a minute here and get started. All right, Lee, thanks for jumping in. If you want to hit the request, then we'll go ahead and get started. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining the series. I'm very to get
Here
this.
I am.
What's up, Lee? How
What's up, Quinn? How you doing, buddy?
fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
So excited to have you here as my artist series. I wanted to start this because I wanted to bring awareness to the ups and downs of house music and lifestyle, and no other way better to have one of my largest inspirations, you, Lee Reynolds, today to kind of get a little bit of a background story and how being our person DJ. I'm very fascinated by your background, and I really appreciate you being here today. So, without further ado, you mind introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about your story growing up in England, being a pro BMXer, and then moving over across the pond to the States, beginning your music.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Okay, you're a little glitchy, but you can hear me.
Sure.
You can hear me good, right? You're glitching out a little bit. For some reason, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. So yeah, I was born in England in 1970. I was conceived in '69, which I'm pretty proud of. Think about that one. But yeah, I was born in England. My parents moved to a small town in Wales when I was a kid, and I started. We would always, for fun, we'd always ride our bikes in the forest and doing jumps and stuff. And then around 1980 is when BMX really took off in England, and I'm like, oh man, they actually make bikes for this stuff. So I got a BMX bike, and I got into that, and I was always kind of the nerdy kid in school. I wasn't very good at sports particularly, so. But I got good at BMX, and I started getting in all the magazines and stuff, and got in some US magazines. By the time I graduated school when I was 17, I was pretty established in the BMX industry. I was in all the UK magazines, I was in some US magazines, and that was what I was passionate about. And even though I was like pretty academic and probably should have gone to college and done all that stuff, I decided to run away to California because that's where I knew was the epicenter of the action sports industry. So when I was 17, I jumped on a plane, went to California, San Diego, fell in love with it. Thought it was going to be a vacation, but that was like 33 years ago. And I just put everything into the BMX world, and I got to tour the States, got to go to some different countries, and it taught me like how important it is to follow your passion and just do what you love. And I got to meet so many incredible people that I'm still friends with. And even though it was very short lived, because by the time I was 19, I had a pretty major accident. It was right when I was about to have my own signature bike and go on to be the next like Matt Hoffman or Dave Mira, who are great friends of mine. Rest in peace, Dave Mira. And it was a life-changing event for me. I had to move back to England for a while, and at that point, I started to delve more into the music world. I was always passionate about music, but I started going out clubbing, and it was right when the rave scene started, and took my first acid at a Depeche Mode concert in 1991, and that was like, never looked back, basically. And then I ended up moving back to California about a year later, but the BMX industry had kind of bottomed out. And so for a while, I was like raving on the weekends. And then during the week, I was making money by doing school assemblies at schools all around California. I was doing Just Say No to Drug shows, which was ironic, and then raving on the weekends. And I led that lifestyle for a few years. And then I got married, and you know, I was really into the music scene. I started DJing in like 92 or 93, because after I've been raving for a couple of years, I'm like, this is great, but I actually want to be like, I want to participate, you know, I want to be the one behind the decks. And luckily I had some good friends in San Diego, Marky Quark and Barry Weaver, and you know, I don't know, you know, Doc Martin I've known for years, that inspired me. And I started DJing. I was really into it, but then, you know, then I had a wife and kids and had to kind of not put it on the back burner. I'd say I always did it, but like I had to do graphic design for a number of years to make money. I worked for Fox Motocross designing motocross gear because of my, you know, they hired me because of my background in BMX, and my wife Zoe at the time was designing their sportswear line. So did that for quite a few years, and then realized that I couldn't work for someone else and couldn't be a part of the corporate world. They started blowing up and getting bigger, and moved back to San Diego around the turn of the millennium. And that's when, you know, we were doing some freelance design work, and then we opened our shop, Hunt and Gather. And then shortly after Hunt and Gather, I was throwing nights in San Diego at bars, and I was, you know, still DJing. I'd kind of put the music production stuff on hold because I really feel like you can't do too many things well. You know, you kind of have to focus on one thing at a time to do it right. And I always said, if I ever make it where I can support myself DJing, then I'll start working on music again, which was that happened about 8 or 9 years ago, luckily. So, but yeah, we moved back to San Diego. There wasn't much of a scene going on that I was into, so I started throwing my own nights, little bars, and then around 2000, I was throwing a night called Moonshake with Marky Quark, San Diego DJ legend, and our friend Bob Dazzler. And I heard about these kids throwing another house techno party on the other side of town in North County, Encinitas, which is, ironically, that was where I first landed when I moved to the US. Right when I was in Encinitas, Lucadia in 1988, which is right when the rest of the Desert Hearts crew had just been born. Porky hadn't been born yet, I don't think. But but then I ended up living like downtown, doing that whole thing, and then I heard about these kids throwing a house and techno event in Encinitas, and I'm like, what the fuck? Who are these guys? Went and checked it out, and it was the Jungle Crew, which was Mobs and Mikey and Porky, and they had a bunch of other crew members at the time. And I really liked what they were doing. I loved the music. They're playing the same music as me, but their crowd was a little different. They'd all just gotten out of college, so they had this like sea of like younger, energetic, beautiful people that were like, you know, that got it, you know. And we started collaborating together. Like I would have them play my night, I'd play their night. We all became really good friends, you know. Mikey and I initially it was Mikey and I that formed like a really strong friendship, and we'd be out a lot, going to a lot of the same events and DJing a lot of the same events together. And after a couple of years of doing that, we all decided, you know, San Diego, Southern California has a great like desert party scene. It always has, you know, with like the Moon Tribe guys and all these people doing renegade desert parties, and we'd get invited to play these parties, but the music would be all over the place. You know, it's like it would be, they'd have jam bands, they'd have dubstep, drum and bass, down tempo, which is great. I love all those things, but there was no flow. There was really no flow to the festival, and so we're like, well, what if we do a renegade desert party, but we just play like house and techno because that's what we love. And so we did. In 2012, we threw a renegade party in the Mojave Desert, and a couple of hundred people came. All the odds were against us. The weather was terrible. It's fucking freezing. The sound system didn't show up the first day, and we had to like figure out how to get sound. But when it all came together, it was like magic. We put so much work into it, and like the 200 people that were with us, they became like our core like Desert Hearts family and crew. Like we went through so much that weekend to like have fun and make it happen. And once we pulled it off, it's like we were a family at that point. And they told their friends, and I'm like, well, fuck, let's do it again, let's do it again. And then the next time it was like, maybe 500 people, then it was 800 people, then it was 1,200 people, then it was like, a couple of thousand people. And we just kept doing it, really. And we never started it as a business. We were just four friends that really wanted to throw the best party we possibly could and like bring our friends together. And the fact that we've been able to like turn it into a business and keep it going this long is like just magical to me. And we're all still best friends. We all still love each other, and we're just excited to do our festival. It's been like 2 years now, and it's like what we do. It's what we love to do. So we're just gearing up for April 28th and being able to do our damn thing.
For sure, bro. Absolutely, and just with your guys' growth over the years, and it's a huge inspiration to myself and many others. And one thing, passion and being committed to growing something. And you guys have an ethos, House Techno Love. Can you share a little bit with the audience?
Yeah, well, yeah. After after that, I think the second event, when we realized that we actually kind of had something going on, we're like, okay, we have to have an ethos. So we knew we wanted our event to be geared towards house and techno because there were so many festivals doing bass music and all the other things, and I felt like I'd grown up in the rave scene, which was predominantly house and techno, and I felt what was missing from the house and techno scene at that time was community and love. Like a lot of DJs were getting paid a lot of money to play these big shows where it didn't really look like they were having fun and they weren't connecting with the audience. And that's not what it's about for me. And so we knew our main ethos had to be love. So we decided to make it about love and just doing the right thing, treating people the way you want to be treated. It's okay to have fun, like life's short. We're here like to enjoy ourselves. I mean, you should have fun. If you're not having fun, you're wasting your life, as far as I'm concerned. And so yeah, we just wanted to create a space where people could come and like really express themselves. And it doesn't matter like where you're from or what you are or what you do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, and then you're welcome, and come and express yourselves. And it really, like, people really express themselves. People come and they get dressed up and they live the life that they should be living all the time. Like it's a sharing community. We historically, we've never charged for alcohol or anything like that. You can bring all your own booze, and everyone shares and everyone cares, and there's never been any fights. It's just like everyone comes there happy because they know that's what we're about. We're about love and happiness and kindness and just trying to do the right thing. Man, I can't hear you for some reason. I cannot hear you at all right now. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear you. I don't know why. You're not coming through at all right now. But I know, I know you do. I have your questions here, and I know your next question was, what have some of the greatest tests and strength? What have some of your greatest tests and strengths and growth to get Desert Hearts where it is today? Well, I mean, I think patience. And at first we'd have to do a lot of work. We like throwing the festival. I remember leaving the festival with like trucks full of trash and getting there and like setting everything up. And luckily over time we've like built a really great team and family, and we have a lot of support. We work well together. I think not not letting your ego get ahead of you, or not thinking that you're better than anybody else, and just like keeping it real. But you know, I just go with the flow, and I feel like, you know, as long as you're optimistic and you work hard and put in the time, and like luckily at this point, I get to primarily just be an artist and focus on that, and you know.
Right on, man. Well, definitely appreciate it. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you better now. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. Now I can hear. Now I can hear you.
Right
Yay.
on.
Check out my bedroom.
So, oh yeah, hell yeah. So I think it was just where my
That's
phone was
Harry,
sitting.
my
So I
hedgehog.
apologize everybody for my volume here, but tell us a little bit about how the pandemic has impacted Desert Hearts and you personally and musically, and
Oh,
some of the things
definitely.
that you've done to get through the pandemic and continue the Desert Hearts growth and path, because I think just how you guys are perceived and what you guys are doing is so inspirational. You didn't seem to miss a beat. You changed directions very swiftly, and to change directions on a dime and to survive something that we're all impacted by is very
Yeah. Yeah.
extraordinary and very inspirational.
Yeah. I mean, it was tough. We did, none of us saw that come in. We were having a great year touring the world, and we had a, you know, the next year was looking epic, and then within the course of a month, like the rug completely got pulled from under our feet, and luckily we fell into the streaming thing pretty easily. I had done some streams previously, even before the pandemic, and um, luckily I was able to start streaming within the first few weeks, even before we did the first Twitch thing. I was doing streams for people, and I guess I mean, I'm gonna stay connected with people no matter what. I want to be connected with people, and but yeah, the Twitch thing was a blessing for sure, because I don't know how we would have kept our community together, or gotten through the pandemic without it. And even though I wish it hadn't happened, some good came out of it, because it really, for me personally, it allowed me to express myself musically a lot more. Because instead of, you know, when we're all touring together, we get to DJ, you know, we play these shows, and a lot of the time we only get to play for an hour each, because it's the four of us. And, and then sometimes you get your solo gigs where they might let you play for like, you know, 2, 3, if you're lucky, like 4 hours. On Twitch, I was playing for like fucking like
15.
15, 20 hours at a time. And obviously I have like a ton of vinyl. I have more downstairs, but like I was able to dig back through my record collection. And you know, I did one marathon stream where it was all vinyl, one of the first ones I did. And so it like enabled me to like dig back through my roots and kind of really rediscover where I came from musically, and to show people that I don't just play like, you know, tech house bangers. That I love all music. And you know, some streams I would start my streams at like 70 BPM, and then it would take me like 3 hours to get it up into the 120s, and then, you know, and then at the end I would go into my like all the 80s and eclectic weird rock stuff that I like.
I really like you incorporate like the 90s alternative rock into your sets. I've caught pretty much, I want to say 90% of all your Vortex live streams. They're absolutely incredible. And just to see how you tell your story, and you give us all a journey, you give us a space to escape and really appreciate the music for what it is. That's very important as a DJ and someone that's in the music industry, when we're sharing ourselves with people, to really be authentic in each track that we select. And I just want to acknowledge you for that. Your record selection and your collection is absolutely incredible, and it keeps everybody on their toes.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to surprise people and play stuff that like maybe they've heard in the past, and then, but it's funny. Like the older I get now, I'm 51. It's like sometimes I play throwbacks, and they're like too far back for the crowd I'm playing for. They're like, what the fuck's this?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I like. I really fell out of like the the mainstream like pop world. Once I started like really DJing and getting into the house stuff, it like, so I don't know much about like after the 2000, after the 90s, 2000. I don't know anything about fucking pop music anymore. I don't know what's going on in the mainstream world.
Well, all the retro
But
tracks you
like
play
the
are
70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, I know it all.
so tell me this. So kind of going back to building the community and having the group of followers that people that go to your festivals and parties. One thing that has stuck out for me with you and the rest of the crew is just how open and friendly you all are and how inviting everybody is. It's
Yeah.
it's a breath of fresh air. You don't see that a lot in this community. And the way you guys have grown the House Techno Love ethos, you guys embody it. You guys live it every fucking day, and
Yeah.
it's inspirational. And my question to you is, as you guys have grown and as you've grown musically and as an artist and a performer and as a curator, how have you balanced the social impacts, the social demands from everybody? Because at some point it's got to seem that you know so many people you can't remember names, or like everybody's your best friend. How do you draw a line in the sand and really just keep your circle tight and know who's in your circle, who isn't, and how do you keep that same level of love with everybody?
Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know if I have a line in the sand. I actually like I hang out with everybody, and that's like one thing that I mean that's like a gift that like DJing has given me, is that I get to travel to these other cities, and I see a lot of DJs just like fly in and do their gig and go back to their fancy hotel room. It's like I've wasted more hotel rooms than you could care to imagine, because I go to the after party. I want to hang out. Like if the people that book me want to hang out, that's number one, because they book me and I want to meet them and I want to connect with them. If they don't, then I'm gonna find the next person to hang out. It's like people now I go to these random cities and people come up to me at the end of the show and they're like, "Where's the after party?" And I'm like, "I don't fucking live here. You tell me, dude." Like,
That's incredible.
But I've really taken the opportunity the last 8 or 9 years, however long it's been, to just like connect with as many people as I can everywhere I go, because I mean that's what I want, and that to me is like the true like richness in life, is having friends. It's like you can lose all your money, you can lose your money, you can lose your health, whatever but like if you have friends, that's the true value. And I mean, yeah, I just feel like that I felt like that had been what had been missing in the DJ industry for a long time, where DJs were like putting themselves up on a pedestal and like trying to act like they were better than anyone else. It's not that fucking hard to learn to DJ, and it's like, you gotta have good taste in music, but more importantly, like as a DJ, I think you have to have charisma and like fucking like you have to look like you're having fun. If you want other people to have fun, it's like you got to be having fun yourself. And like there's a lot of DJs that just don't look like they're having fun. You can tell they're just there to pick up a check, which is like that's not what it's about for me ever.
It doesn't become very interactive when the DJ is not looking at the crowd or
No, I mean, how are you supposed to? I saw some shows recently. I'm not going to mention names, but like they were a pair of DJs that I knew, and I booked for Desert Hearts, and I went to the show, and I was like right up front. I was right up front, thinking, oh, they're gonna look up and see me, and I'd be like, oh, hey, whatever. But they didn't look at the crowd one time during that whole show, like, and it's like, how do you even know? How do you even know people having fun if you're not looking at them and interacting with them? And
what are your
that's what it's all about.
What are some of your favorite shows right now?
I mean, I honestly love everywhere I go. I just spent a week in Miami. I wasn't even on the clock, but I went down there for Love Burn because I wanted to connect more with like my East Coast family and New York and Miami. I love those areas. I love playing in San Francisco, but San Francisco definitely got hit hard by the pandemic and the way they enforce things here. So the scene's just really coming back. Obviously San Diego, because I lived there for so long. Denver's always been a really great, like, huge market for us. I love playing down in Costa Rica. Uh,
What's been your favorite venue to play at aside from your own Desert Hearts Festival?
my favorite venue. That's a tough one. Obviously I love playing at Burning Man. I love Elements Fest on the East Coast. I love Flash in DC. Um, I love, the Brooklyn Mirage. Mikey
Oh
and
yeah,
I are actually playing. Mikey and I actually doing our first like back-to-back co-headlining thing there in a couple of months. Um, uh, yeah, anywhere in Costa Rica. We've done shows in Berlin. That's fantastic too. But the US, I love California. I love LA. Obviously, is always great. Yeah,
oh yeah.
Portland, Seattle. Seattle's amazing. Utah's amazing. I'm going there again soon.
I've
Yeah. Also, I'm playing in Tampa soon with Brian Busto and the Serious Soul Cruise. That's always an awesome show. I'm playing in Phoenix at the Walter Warehouse with DJ Dan next month, which is awesome because he's just like a legend and has become one of my
oh yeah.
good friends. And
He's
he
people right there.
he picked me to play with him, so we get to like fucking kill it in Phoenix together, which is great.
Oh yeah, we saw
Uh,
my wife and I saw Porky at the Powell Palace in Burning Man. It was phenomenal. That's the vibes right
yeah.
there.
Yeah. It's hard to beat those kind of events. Obviously, Desert Hearts is my favorite. I love playing Lightning in a Bottle. We're doing that again this year.
Incredible.
Symbiosis is always a great one. I think we might be playing Shambhala for the first time coming
Nice.
up. I'm excited for that in Canada. I'm always about checking out new spots. We've done some great shows in Toronto and Montreal and
So, so with all of the touring and all of the traveling and partying, you obviously have to find space to run a business and to be professional at the same time.
yeah.
When you get back to back gigs and you're going from airport to airport and you're spending 3 to 5 days different gigs throughout the states and beyond, what are some of the ways that you cope with just managing the travel stresses and just the demand from running a business, managing it, and just maintaining that love balance with everybody?
Yeah. Well, when we first started, obviously it was a lot more difficult. Like we all came from different backgrounds. Like Mikey had gone to like business school. Marbs was an artist, but he was helping his dad run his business, and so it's kind of we all had jobs. I was doing graphic design, and then we like kind of translated those jobs to Desert Hearts, and we were like doing 2 jobs for a while. So at first I did all the graphic design. I designed the Desert Hearts logo, and I was doing all the flyers. But after a couple of years of doing that and being on the road, it was impossible for me to balance that. So I was able to delegate that work out, and now we have a great graphic design team. But it is hard to find. It is hard to find balance. I mean, that's why I'm single now, because it's really hard to do something like this and still find the time that it takes to like maintain a relationship and things like that. So like I said, you can only do so many things well. So right now I'm focusing on production, and I got a pandemic and my breakup probably set me back a good like year or 2 on what I wanted to do production wise, but I'm like just focusing on that. My studio, we have 2 great studios downstairs. I can't really take you down there because the phone, my reception will cut off, but I'm just working on music constantly, focusing on DJing and focusing on the up and coming festival. And then I try and have fun in between and eat well and enjoy life and stay positive and optimistic. And
Well, I definitely appreciate that mindset and that insight on how to continue living your passion. Going back to your studio downstairs, I have been there before. I saw your studio, and you got some equipment down there with Carl. Tell us a little bit about your collabs with Carl.
So Carl and I are working on a project called Mid-Rave Crisis, and we're working on an album. It's about halfway done. right now. We're hoping to have that out this year, which is going to be more. It's going to be electronic rock, basically, I would say,
yeah.
or it's good. They're gonna be more songs like vocals and guitar and a lot of analog synthesis, and just trying to bring some like realness back into the music, or some life. I mean, I love tech house, and I love house and techno and electro. I love it all. I want to try and bring those elements all together with like the stuff that I like from the past too, and create something that maybe will like stand the test of time, something that people want to listen to in like 10 years from now.
I think it will too, because you bring such an authentic vibe to your music, and marrying
Thank
the
you.
two, organic instruments with electronic music is a recipe for success. So I'm really
Yeah,
looking forward
I
to
mean,
seeing.
some of the music that first got me into DJing was like that, like Primal Scream, their first album, which was produced by Andrew Weatherall, is just a classic like version of that, and that's the stuff that inspired me at the beginning. So why not,
Do you see any future collabs with Desert Hearts and Robe Life Experience on a greater scale?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope so. I can't predict the future, but I've also been working on tracks with Gavin Hardkiss. I
Oh
know,
yeah.
yeah. Which I mean, a lot of people have forgotten about Hardkiss and how legendary they are, and like what like they were such a huge part of the movement here in the early '90s and the U.S. rave scene, and so for me, I've been friends with Gavin now for like 20 years. And I finally moved to San Francisco a year ago. He's up here, so we're working on music together, and I still have a lot of collaboration projects with my homies in San Diego, Memorex and Mitch
Yep.
Dodge and Susio, and we have our Frequency Clash label that's like it's been slightly on hold at the moment just because of what I've been dealing with the move, but yeah, there's a lot of cans in the worm and a lot of things to be done. So,
Yeah.
like you said, it's just
Those
balance,
guys are
finding the
solid dudes.
time.
I was just in San Diego a few weeks ago. I got to hang out with them a little bit. I was there for Marb's birthday at Spin, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So with the continued success that you have, and the growth of Desert Hearts, what's your guys' path for the next 3 to 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
We just want to keep building Desert Hearts respectfully, and we always want it to be we always want it to be the same feeling, the same ethos. Um, we're not we're not trying to make ourselves rich. We just want to fucking connect with as many people as we can, and we've like taken it this far, and we had a glimpse of what it's like to take it globally before the pandemic, and we definitely want to get back into that and like doing more European shows and
Oh yeah.
like I mean, I want to DJ everywhere. I want to DJ everywhere around the world and connect with as many people as I can and meet as many people as I can and show them how easy it is to like have a good life and be nice to people. If you just like go out, if you wake up with like positive thoughts in your head and you go out and you just
Bingo.
you open doors for people and you smile at people and just to try and like uplift people and bring people up. I mean, I have a vision of something that I want to do like in the next few years, which is the Love Revolution tour, where I would like to do something kind of similar to what they did in the 60s, where they drove a bus across the country, and when they drove further across country, and like maybe start a tour in San Francisco of like buses and DJs and art and like everything that's a part of our culture, the spirituality part of it, the fun part of it, and maybe just like do a very slow road tour through America where you really get to
Oh yeah.
like show people what like this culture is about, because like rave, it's funny to call it rave culture, whatever you want to call it, but like this scene that I'm a part of, I really feel like it could be like the best hope for humanity. Like I've met the best people, I've met the most conscious people, the most like empathetic and free thinking people like in this scene. And I feel like it's a breath of fresh air for the world, and it's what it needs. So I want to just do everything I can to like expose people to this. And music obviously is like music is like the common thread that like keeps us all together. You could be from anywhere, like, and have your differences, but you're dancing on the dance floor. When you're on the dance floor and everyone's like vibing out to the same song, it just creates like some kind of magic, you know?
Absolutely. Lee, you are an incredible soul, and I really appreciate you sharing your experiences with everybody. Not one time were you mentioning things that you do for yourself. It's all about other people and about building a community. So I just want to acknowledge sharing and spreading that love.
Thank you, Quinn. I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as we wrap up, what's one thing you can leave the audience to leave them inspired?
I would say, you know, you're not here that long. Lead your best life. Like, do the things that you're passionate about. Don't get like fucking too hungry. You got to do what you got to do, but like, don't get caught up for your whole life. Like, have a goal to get out of it where you can really like follow your heart, because I believe that like that's where the real messages come from, your heart. And your brain just fucks it up because we're all socially conditioned and like part of this fucking bullshit fucking system that I want to break down. And you just gotta be true to yourself, because you only live this life once. You know, I believe that I chose this life, and you got to stay optimistic and believe in yourself, be good to people, and yeah, spread the love. And we literally put out energy. So like you know, when you approach people, when I meet someone, I want them to leave feeling better than they did before they met me, basically.
Well, no, already leave that mark on many people, man. I appreciate you so much, and
thank you
so much for sharing this space with me. Thank you, everybody, for joining in. Lee, you are an incredible soul, and we'll connect real soon, brother.
Thanks, Quinn. Love you, man.
Love you, brother.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.